Hello YouTube! Today we will be discussing the new Emperor of Tamriel after Skyrim. Or well, we will try to speculate who or what kind of person it can be. So without further ado, let's quickly kick off with this highly anticipated video. Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to the Emperor, and unwavering obedience to the officers of his great empire. May those above judge me, and those below take me, if I fail in my duty. Long live the Emperor, long live the Empire. This is the oath you swear to General Tullius when entering in the service of the Empire. Here's something wrong with the oath? That's right, there's no mention of the Emperor Titus Metis II. That's because he's dead. I killed him at the end of the Dark Brotherhood questline. The point that I'm trying to make here is that apparently another emperor has immediately risen to the throne, as General Tullius makes it sound in this oath. But who is this new emperor? One of the best theories on this I have already covered in this video, in which I discussed the popular theory of whether the emperor could have killed himself, and where I actually add something to the theory myself and going further and saying that we actually meet the son of the emperor. However, that video is a video on its own and I recommend you watch it. It's one big conspiracy that proves quite the interesting watch. It is in the description, and that said, conspiracies aside, who are the most likely candidates in the royal succession? Well, first of all, Titus Metis II's sons and daughters. Second, his relatives, uncles, aunts, grandparents even. We actually already know of one relative that can still be found alive after the Dark Brotherhood questline. Alexia Vici, his aunt, and mother of his cousin, Vittoria Vici. Third, there could be a potentate, if no claim to the throne is brought in by one of his relatives or his offspring. And fourth, there could have happened a coup, an entirely different family or warlord taking over the Imperial city by force or by politics. I know that a lot of people also wish for the Dragonborn to land on the throne, but that is for all terms and purposes an unlikely scenario, since Bethesda usually does not give major historical roles to their characters post-gameplay. And well, while there is dragon blood in the the Dragonborn, it is a possibility, it's just not a likely one, certainly now that dragon blood is no longer needed to keep Tamriel stable. So, before we actually start with this little analysis, in this scenario Titus Metis II dies. Heck, I think he dies in all scenarios, since we know that he must be over 80 years old, since in the Elder Scrolls Legends, 30 years before Skyrim, he already looks deep in his 50s, maybe even his 60s. So, the man dies, regardless of whether you choose the Dark Brotherhood questline, at least for this video. I also think that this is the way Bethesda will brush it off in the next Elder Scrolls, that they will keep the circumstances of his death vague, in the lore either old age or assassins. Something like, it's rumored he was killed in the year 201 of the 4th era by assassins, but other official sources say that he finally caught up with old age. So, Titus Metis II is dead. Who could have taken over? We don't know of any of his sons and daughters, or even if he has one. We also don't know of a wife, if he even has one. All we can confirm is that after Skyrim he still has his aunt, Alexia Vici, a woman in her 90s probably, but nonetheless a member of the Mede dynasty, and thus a prospect for the crown. It would change the name's dynasty to Vici though, so the Vici emperors. However, there is a problem with this. In the new oath to then General Tullius we do not swear allegiance to an empress, we swear allegiance to an emperor. So, if we only look at his family, we have nothing to go on. I mean, there could be someone from the Vici line, but it could also be his son, a nephew from the Vici line even, or maybe even an uncle. We don't know. So the possibilities 1 and 2, either his offspring or his relatives, have been exhausted. We don't know of any of the family members of the Mede dynasty that are alive. Unless you believe in my conspiracy, of course, but I saved that for that video. It is in the description. So, what about the third option, a potentate? This would once again bring problems with the oath, since, well, we swear loyalty to an emperor and not to a potentate. However, a potentate could just decide in the first minutes of rule to be called Emperor, although this is far-fetched and we don't actually have anything to go on in this direction either, because probably the Elder Council would protest immediately if one of their own, who was appointed potentate, just said, well, I'm Emperor now and my family is forever Emperor. I mean, there's potentate for a reason. Then there's the fourth prospect, a coup. This is if all of his family are also dead and there are no heirs prepared for the throne, the most likely scenario. If we keep any conspiracies regarding Amon Mocher working with the Emperor or his family out of this, we have some dialogue of his to work with that actually leads us to prospect this scenario. In the Dark Brotherhood questline, Amon Mocher has two important quotes. The first one being, "You must understand, so much has led to this day, so much planning and maneuvering. Now you're here, as if the stars have finally aligned." He says that, and I know, I received the news not moments ago. Haha, this is glorious, my friend. You may not realize it, but you have served the Empire, indeed all of Tamriel, in ways you cannot possibly imagine. Ah, but you care little for politics, am I right? You want money, and money you shall have. These two quotes are very important, because do you hear how he says that you did in the entirety of Tamriel a favor, and how there was so much planning and maneuvering leading up to this day? If we set the conspiracy I already talked about aside, this all looks like a coup. And more people than just Amon Mocher looks like to be involved. If we take this dialogue literally, and take in consideration that Amon Mocher is a member of the Elder Council, we can assume that this could have been the plot by the Elder Council, and someone else was already being prepared for the throne before Mocher even reached out to the Dark Brotherhood. Since the Brotherhood are basically just hired thugs in the eyes of the nobility, I don't think that Mocher was the creator of this grand plan to replace the Emperor this quickly. I think that because of the hired thugs, as the nobility knows the Dark Brotherhood, easily betray you if they can just earn a little bit more money. So I think that Mocher is not the organizer of this grand scheme, but he's just the errand boy, and someone else has already been prepared for office. If the other council is all in on it, it could even be that this person has already been voted upon, and thus immediately enters office after the death of the Emperor reaches the other council. Whoever this person might be, we don't know. However, there is one thing that makes me believe that even if this is all orchestrated by the Elder Council to put someone on the throne, things went without violence, and overall the person they chose must have at least some ties to the Meade family, or at least some significant other claim to the throne. The reason I suspect this is because of the Penitus Oculatus. If this were all a scheme to put some corrupt politician on the throne, the Penitus Oculatus would never accept this new monarch unless it's someone from the Meade family, or someone with ties to the Meade family. As we know, the Penitus Oculatus are loyal only to the Imperial family, being there to secure the Emperor, and even being at the wedding of Vittoria Vici to secure Alexia Vici, the aunt of the Emperor. They would never accept someone from outside the Meade dynasty, or someone the Emperor has not appointed, and well, we know that they are also not conspiring against the Empire, since they actually fight the plan, and we can kill some pretty senior officers. After Titus II is murdered, they just remain peacefully at their base, just continuing their function as the Empire's secret service. This whole thing with the Penitus Oculatus just accepting the rule of the new monarch is one of the main reasons I actually believe that the conspiracy covered in this video, in the description, is actually the truth, and I highly recommend watching it. That said, it is basically all I can say about it. I personally think that it was some relative of Meade, probably his son, who either with or without his father being in on the plan, organized this whole affair with at least one other Elder Council member, being Mocher. But who knows really? I think that I stated everything we can reasonably speculate or talk about. Leave your thoughts in the comments. After hearing this, who do you think will succeed and sit upon the Ruby Throne in the next Elder Scrolls game? Do you think that I'm spot on with my theory that it's probably someone from the Meade dynasty, or do you go even further and you think that the conspiracy I mentioned so many times in this video is right? Let me know. I mean, if you're still convinced that the Dragonborn will land on the throne, that's fine, but I just don't agree. So, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, do those things. For personal contact with me, my Discord and Instagram are in the description. If you want to support me in a more personal way, there's my Patreon. Look at the Patreon for all the benefits it gives, including your name at the end of every video. And yeah, with that said, I will see you in the next video. Probably something on Dunmer and Morrowind. But we'll see. Bye bye.